just learned a new way of thinking. Never really thought of this way before. Like in some aspects of my life, I've already adopted it. Like going to the gym, like how I go to the gym, I take the easy way. You know what I'm saying? I never like to be sore. There's a mosquito flying around. Excuse me. If I catch him, I'm getting him because he's gonna kill me all night. He's gonna get me. Back on point. Like different little things. I never really put a name to the way I do on the way that I motivate myself or get myself to consistently go to the gym. But then after reading this book, this one right here, it's one step can change your life. I'm probably gonna badger the way it says, the kaizen way. And so you have two basic ways that you can change, or two major ways, right? Major strategies. And one's the innovative way, and one's the Kaizen way, right? The innovative way creates or demands shocking and radical reform, right? So let's think about that. A new innovative machine, right? Extremely expensive, a lot goes into it, new way of doing things, right? Innovation, boom, hits you, the shock factor, right? Well, the Kaizen way asks you to just take small steps every day to accomplish your overall goal. And when I mean small steps, I'm talking like 80 baby steps. You know what I'm saying? It sounds redundant, it sounds stupid to begin with, but the more I thought about it and the more I applied it to I thought back in my life, I've already applied this in certain aspects of my life. Like going to the gym. Like I said before, when I start going to the gym after a while of not going, I know the most important thing for me to do is just get inside that gym, right? First day, just get in there, right? Then we'll worry about, working out and all that kind of stuff. I hate being sore. Right? How many people have tried going to the gym? How many people have you seen go to the gym the very first day they go in there, they try to max themselves out and try to do the most, right? And they're like, oh, look how strong I am, right? But then the next 3 days, they don't go back to the gym. They have no desire to go to the gym because they can't even get out of the bloody bed, right? Well, that's the innovative way of doing things. The shock factor. Try to just jump right into it, right? Well, the Kaizen way tells you just get into the gym. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just go to the gym every day for a week and just talk to the people at the gym. Get yourself acclimated to go. Then step number 2, if you want to work on the treadmill, you want to burn some weight, just stand on the treadmill. Maybe even do it at 1. You know what I'm saying? So you're barely even walking till your body builds up the comfort zone there. And then steady progress higher and higher and higher and higher until it becomes a habit and a daily routine, into where it's not even stressful for you to do it, right? That's more or less what the Kaizen way discusses. Excuse me, it's 333. Been doing that since I was maybe about 6 years old, so I had to do it. So what also in this book was very interesting, it talks about the 3 different parts of the brain, or what he talks about is the 3 different brains that we have. One was developed about 5, what I'm looking at is this. Right. So I got a little bit of a cheat sheet. So if you see my eyes kind of wander off, then that's what it's looking at. It's looking at my little cheat sheet. Obviously, what I will do is, just like on every other little book, I'm going to write my notes, and they will be available for sale for like a cheat sheet, but much more in-depth cheat sheet than the cheat sheet I have right now. Now, what he talks about is the 3 different types of brain, which is really interesting. So 500 million years ago is the replicon. Like I'm going to badger all these words. So if that's the type of person you like to correct everybody, perfect. Write a little comment below and tell me exactly how I'm pronouncing it wrong, right? What this part of the brain does, it's 500 million years old, and he says it's about the same size as a alligator's brain, or a reptile's brain, right? It wakes you up in the morning, sends you to sleep, and it reminds the heart to keep beating. Very important part of the brain. Not really important to what's going on right now. Good to know. Good to know though. The second little part of your brain, which was developed about 300 million years ago, was mammalian brain. Again, I badgered it. I apologize for all the people that can't stand when people badger words. What this part does, it regulates the body's internal temperature, houses emotions, and governs the fight or flight response, right? This is very key, right? Very key for what we're about to learn. Now, 100 million years ago, we develop the rest of the brain, right? The cortex, which is responsible for the miracle of us being human, right? Gives us the civilization, the arts, the science, the music, the rational thought, and the creative, impulsive thinking, or whatever. If we want to make a change, we need to access the cortex, right? That's bar none. If we don't like something, or if we want to be change something about ourselves, that's the part of the brain that gives us the ability to change, right? Now, what he discusses is that not all parts of the brain work together, right? So when you want to make a change, you always run into a bit of fear, right? You don't know, the unknown is always scary. No matter where you are, doesn't matter how old you are, but it can impose like fear into your heart, into your mind, and everything, which leads us back to the middle part of our brain with the fight and flight. So the amygdala, amygdala, right? Again, badgered it again. With this, it controls the fight and flight. So back in the olden days, it was much more helpful for us, right? So when we were on the savannah and we're worried about the lions and everything, that was the key. Because what it does, it gives the brain basically the ability to shut off everything else and react, right? To fight or flight. So without us even having to think, we automatically react. Okay, think of other things. Fear. When you get scared, you automatically do certain things, right? Or if like when you're in a car and there's a car coming in and it came too close, without even thinking, you hit the brakes, right? That's your amygdala sitting there taking action. You didn't have to sit there and take 5 minutes to be like, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe this car's going to crash into me. Maybe not. Your body automatically, snap of the fingers, it's doing it on its own, right? Well, what that does do is when we are scared of starting a new project or we have self-doubt or anything, what it does is it gets in the way. Because what it also does is it saves us from the lion or dangerous situations, but it also does is it blocks out other parts of the brain, right? Most importantly, the cortex, right? So have you ever tried to start a project, write a book, write a paper, and you just sit there and you're looking at a blank screen and your mind goes blank, can't think of anything? Or even better, because this used to happen to me all the time, stay up all night or wake up early in the morning, study for a test, and I know that bad boy back and forwards, but the second the test is in front of me, every last thing that I studied that I could tell you, backwards and forwards is gone. I'm like, where did it go, right? Well, that's the amygdala getting in the way because you're scared, right? You know how much this test is gonna mean. It could destroy your grade. It can do whatever, it has a big significance on your life, on your future. And your fight or flight gets in the way. And so your creative part of your brain and every little thing that you learned the night before, it just goes blank. You can't remember anything, right? Starting to see how the fight or flight part of your brain can get into the way of change, right? So with innovation, that's really, really key, right? Because with innovation, it demands like a huge, like a shock factor, right? To where if you're trying to change by innovation, it's gonna be very difficult because you're basically, your brain's not set up for that. It's not set up for that at all. Because if you get scared, then your brain's set up to fight or flight, right? But with the kaizen approach, it tricks the amygdala to basically get out of the way, right? Because you're not taking a scary step. You're not taking a grand step to change. You're taking the most minuscule, smallest little step to where there's no fear in it, right? Like I was saying, you go to the gym, you just getting to the gym. It's not scary, you know what I'm saying? Even sometimes it's still difficult to even do that, you know what I'm saying? And if that's too hard, then just drive by the gym for a couple days until you get used to it, until you build up enough nerve to get into the gym, right? Then when you get in the gym, if you know what I'm saying, the strenuous workout is not for you, you're not there yet, then take baby steps, right? Don't jump into something and be the innovative person, right? And screw yourself, right? In other words, excuse me. What we also talk about in this book which I'll go in more depth when I write my notes, is the different steps of the kaizen approach, right? Ask small questions. This allows the creative side to begin to work and solve the small questions unconsciously, right? So if you keep asking yourself the small questions, what's the smallest thing I can do today to better my life, right? If you're trying to change your health, let's not try to do a new diet or the new little wave of things, right? Because we might do that for a week, a month, a day, and then get tired of it because it's too innovative, right? It's not something that we can consistently control, right? But if we're trying to change our health and we're like, you know what? Instead of smoking this whole cigarette, I'm gonna throw some of it away, right? I'm only gonna smoke half of it, right? Or trying to cut down eating, right? Oh yeah, well, I'm just gonna stop eating altogether. That's not gonna happen, right? But if you take a little bit off, right? In the book, it discusses one lady who wanted to help with her health, and when she went to a restaurant, she'd ask the waitress to automatically put half the food in a doggy bag, right? So she's tricking her brain, right? It's not a difficult thing. It's tricking the fear. It's tricking everything. It's not difficult. If the food's in front of you, it's going to be difficult for you to not eat it, right? But if you never see it and it's already wrapped up, it's gone good, it's ready to go home, ready for later, then it's easier for your brain to not think of that, right? Then the fear's gone, right? It's just easier. So then we also think small thoughts, right? Don't think of the grandiose thought. Think of the small things, right? The kind of basically what I was saying. Think of the small things that you can do, the small little thoughts in your brain that can help trigger other big things, right? The smallest little thing, like waking up a minute early, going to bed a minute late or a minute earlier, reading a page in a book, or instead of watching TV for an hour, watch it for 59 minutes, right? Something small. Take that small thought, and then that also leads us to take small actions, right? So that small little action of lowering or not watching a whole hour, only watching 59 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever, whatever that is. Like on my notes I say, standing on a treadmill, taking one less piece of candy, keeping a water bottle in the car. Like if you feel like you're not drinking enough water, right? Well, remind yourself. If you want to have a better smile and you want to floss your teeth, he discusses that. Well, start with just one tooth a day, all right? Do that for a while. And then, your brain's going to automatically kind of trigger. And you'll be like, you know what? I'm sitting here. Might as well do another one, all right? And then you floss another one, all right? And before you know it, you're going to be doing it and you're going to be enjoying doing it because it's creating a habit, right? Solve small problems. In math or in everything else they teach you, like the biggest problems can be broken down, right? Break the problems down and it won't be so intimidating for you, right? To try to accomplish that small, or to achieve that small goal, or to solve that small problem. Break everything down, right? And if you need help breaking it down, in the book and in my notes, I will further go into more detail and break it down for you and help you out. Bestow small rewards, right? A lot of us think like, okay, to incentivize people, you need to give the big reward. It's not necessarily true. What they were discussing in the book, I can't remember the exact statistics, in the notes they will be more precise, but so in Japan, I don't know if it's still true because the book's a little old, right? But the theory is still the same. In Japan, they give people a pen for doing great, right? An ink pen. For giving, it's at Toyota, for giving an innovative or a new idea to help save cost or to better do something in the factory, right? A more efficient way of doing something. They don't give a huge bonus or any of that. It's very small, right? Opposed to in America, and they have a much higher success rate, a much more in tune faculty, right? A more, I guess, I can't think of the word right now, but I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. Like they're more engaged, right? A more engaged faculty, more engaged staff, right? Because that's not intimidating. Now in America, America tried the same thing with the little suggestion box, right? And it's directly affecting on how much money you save the company, right? So if you save the company $1 billion, then you get an X little bit of money, right? Which in the American way and in my way of thinking, that would make sense, right? But it's not necessarily true because, yeah, if you have that innovative idea, right? If you have that new idea, it could be very costly and it might not work, right? So you're just not gonna be like, oh, well, screw it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get the money anyway, so I'm not even gonna do it. Or I'm not even gonna think. I'm not even gonna take it home to me and try to change, right? Because it's based on how much you save the company. So if your idea is gonna cost $1 million, or if you don't think that your managers are gonna want to hear it, then you have absolutely no reason to put a suggestion in the box. But if your suggestion is taken a different way by upper management or whatnot, and they look at your suggestion and they read it and they look at it and then they give you an attaboy or pat you on the back, or what I'm saying, give you recognition within everybody, you know what I'm saying, like, and let everybody know that thank you for your input, then that positive reaction that you get and what they give, right, is more efficient and more effective because it's the small things, right? We always think it's the big things that change things. It's not. It's the saying good morning to somebody. It's the telling somebody how much you actually appreciate them, which makes the big difference, right? It's the small things that add up to the big things, right? Now you could give someone a brand new car and then be mean all day long and be mean to that person, and that car is not going to mean too much. Or you can turn around and to that same loved one, right? Just be nice to them. Tell them how much you care about them. Tell them how much you appreciate them, right? And that will have a much longer effect than taking them on a very expensive vacation, right? Because taking them on a very expensive vacation, yeah, it puts a Band-Aid on the actual problem, but it doesn't solve it, right? It just avoids it, right? You can take someone on a very nice vacation, but if you don't change or you're still not being nice, then trust me, I've been on one of these vacations, it's not fun. You know what I'm saying? Then they get ruined within the first night because you went on the vacation for the wrong reason, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to discourage anyone from taking their loved one on a grand vacation, but I'm also trying to say, like, it's the small things. You know what I'm saying? It's the small things. So, buy her a flower. Maybe she doesn't like flowers, you know what I'm saying? But maybe she likes chocolate instead of flowers. So, buy some chocolate instead of some flowers. Or maybe take some time to listen instead of being rushed on the telephone or being like, oh, babe, you know what I'm saying, I got to call you later. Stop what you're doing and listen to what she's saying. Show her that she matters, or show him that he matters, right? It's the small things. Which brings us to identify small moments. Look for the small things that you can do to improve your relationships or to improve your life, right? And then the last little chapter discusses the kaizen way of life. Like, you can apply this, slow, non-fearful approach to every aspect of your life, right? And once I do my notes, like I said, I'll break it down to you even more. And like before, it'll just like everything else, you'll see access to where you can get the notes, and you'll also have access to where you can buy this book off of Amazon. But yeah, like everything that I've read thus far in the book, it makes a lot of sense, and it's not overwhelming. It's actually almost redundant and boring, right? But redundant and boring and repetitive, like, that's how you create habits, right? You didn't just start smoking cigarettes yesterday, right? It was a habit of you doing it over and over and over again on how you started, right? And then it became a habit it's hard to break. It becomes an addiction. So if you want to break that habit, you got to do the same thing but the opposite way, right? You got to start a new habit of not smoking, right? Or finding something different when you need that cigarette, or you need whatever, that drink, or whatever it is that you want to change about your life, whether it's eating too many Skittles or too much chocolate or whatever it is. It was however you got yourself to that point, it took you a while to get to that point. It just didn't happen overnight, right? It was a gradual approach or it was a gradual thing that got you there. And so it only makes sense if you want to get yourself out of it, you have to gradually get yourself out of it. You can't just snap your fingers and it's going to be gone. Some people have the ability to do that, but most of us don't. And in some aspects of life and some things that you do, you might be able to do that. But in other things you might not be able to. So what this book does is it gives us the insight to be able to make lifelong changes, right? So again, you know what I'm saying? It's this book. There'll be a link below. Put your comments down in the video below, and I hope that you get as much out of this book as I did.